Okay, so what we have here, kind of all crunched together because I want you to see the pedal a little bit. What we have here is the DOD Gonkulator ring mod pedal, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty wacky. I remember a friend of mine had one that I fooled around with, I don't know, a couple decades ago, and it was pretty weird. And as I'm playing this, it's still pretty weird. So if you don't know what a ring mod is, then let me explain it to you. It pretty much just makes bizarre sounds. What it does is it takes the input from the guitar, the frequency, and sums it or calculates it with a standard frequency that's within the pedal itself, and then what you get out the other end is a combination of the original signal and the affected signal, the ring mod. So the way that it sort of works, like let's say that you play the note A440, and this has, and you can adjust the frequency with the knob here, and this has a frequency of like whatever, 30, then it calculates them together and you get some other frequency, sort of a third frequency. You don't get the internal frequency that it's calculating, so you get the 440 and then some other frequency. And it's not a straight algorithm, I guess would be the word. So it's not like, you know, you can set it to play a fifth up, a perfect fifth up or something. Every single note you play, you get a, unless you know the algorithm, an unpredictable second note with whatever note you play. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, and I'll just play a C, then I'll play a C sharp. It's like a weird harmony. So as I go up chromatic, when I just hit the E, the frequency that that's set to actually almost gives me like a nice sounding harmony. So a D sharp or an E flat, getting that, then the E, it's actually almost like works out to be kind of pleasant. So it's nothing that you can predict, and aside from the notes that you're originally playing, the frequencies that you're originally playing, there's no way to predict the key or anything. So it does definitely have like limited musical use, just because of the unpredictability, but because of that it's almost kind of cool. So, you know, like up here, higher up on the neck, I was fooling around sort of with this setting. It almost sounds like if Brian May was, I guess, more of a space alien, not human mortal, than he already is. So, pretty weird. Anyway, with the actual pedal, with something like this where I really, there's no predicting how it's going to sound or anything like that, and with so many knobs, I usually start pretty much just dead center, which is about 12 o'clock on the knobs, and then fooling around with it, that kind of is almost seems to be the most useful setting, at least in my opinion. So you get definite weirdness, but it still kind of sounds alright. So the output, obviously, is just, you want to set sort of unity. So that's a little higher than unity, whatever. Distortion, there's a built-in distortion sound. And gain, also sort of the amount of distortion. So the distortion and gain seem to sort of work in conjunction. I don't want to say they're redundant, but they seem a little redundant. But nonetheless, whatever. I think distortion is like the distortion level in the outputted effect, and the gain is the distortion level, independent of the outputted distortion effect, if that makes sense. So you could put like a little less distortion, a little less like fuzziness, and still have that less fuzziness mixed in with the output signal by doing the distortion. But again, somewhat redundant, but you can get some pretty cool sounds. And to be perfectly honest, on an effect like this, I would rather have more knobs, even if they seem slightly redundant, than less, because it just gives me more options. Because this isn't really exactly a pedal that you're just going to tweak and get your sound and then leave it at that. This is something that you're constantly going to be playing around with. I'm probably going to use it mostly for recording, just like weird little blips and bleeps and stuff. But I don't mind having the extra knobs. So then we have frequency, and that's the base frequency that gets calculated with your inputted frequency from the guitar. So I don't know if you can hear it. That goes higher, and the frequency goes lower. So actually, you know what? I can turn up the amp. Okay, so the pedal's somewhat noisy, but what are you going to do? Okay, so here's the frequency knob. See how the internal frequency goes up as you turn the knob clockwise, turning it up. And as I turn it down, it gets lower. Okay, and then we have ring, which is the modulation level. So let's fool around with it a little bit in real time. So if I just play a note, in this case the open G, and play the frequency, okay, can you hear it sort of changing? I'll try a different note, a D. So that's the frequency changing in there. And then ring, if we turn it all the way up, now we're getting almost no original signal, almost none of the original signal, so just the weird generated. So if I play with the frequency now, you really hear the difference. Again, the G. Okay, if I turn the mod down, you're getting no second frequency. So we can turn it in a little bit. So you're getting some of it, but mostly the original notes that you're playing. Now it's at about 10 o'clock. So, pretty weird, pretty freaky. It's, I think like the list price is $150. I got it as a deal where it was like $50 off, so it was $99.99. And then, of course, I ordered it, and it showed up like 2 days later. And when it showed up, musician's friend was having one of their stupid deal of the day things, and had it for $49.99. So I thought I got a deal with $50 off the price, and then musician's friend knocks $100 off the price. So, but that deal isn't in effect anymore. It was like, it's one of those one-day things. You have to act fast. So anyway, $150. Is it worth it to you for $150? I don't know. It was worth it to me for $100, so I grabbed it. But it's definitely a weird little pedal. Definitely. And it's extra weird if you play like chromatic stuff. You know, or chromatic, or like weird interval leaps, atonal kind of playing, then it really gets bizarre. Really weird. So, hope you enjoyed.